in Skyfire. The tourists and the investors are going up the mountain to the crater to get a first-hand look at the volcano, and a disaster has occurred and they have to escape. It's really pretty straightforward. I was the visual effects producer on Skyfire. I was responsible for dividing up the show, deciding which vendors would do which shots and so forth. There were two sequences that Tao did. The monorail sequence up the mountain was very, very important because we have to establish the realism, the reality of this, and there really wasn't a mountain and there wasn't a monorail, so we had to create the environment in the computer, so it was primarily CG environments and CG monorail. Dave Stump, who was the on-set supervisor, shot some actors in a mock-up monorail car, and he shot that against blue screen, so we took real actors in most cases and comped them into our CG monorail car. In some cases we had digi-doubles, we had CG actors in the cars. And the other sequence was a sequence at the end of the show as one of our heroes is trying to escape, and there's a pyroclastic explosion on the mountain, and so there's a huge pyroclastic cloud that escapes from the mountain and rolling down the mountain at very high speed. Well, Simon West is very good. He's very, very creative. He's very involved in all aspects of filmmaking. Obviously, he understands action filmmaking. He's a great editor. He was constantly involved in the edit, coming up with suggestions to make things better. He was very, very good to work with. Having a facility in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur, was very useful. The editing, at the beginning, the editing was taking place in two places, in London with Simon West and also in Malaysia. And the original DI house was also in Malaysia. So having a facility in Malaysia made it easier for us to move data back and forth and to visit the DI house when we needed to, or editorial, in order to pick up discs and so forth. So the logistics was easier because we were in Malaysia. Well, I'm sure there's a possibility for a sequel. I mean, after all, this movie, it begins with a flashback to 20 years ago when the volcano exploded, and then its normal cycle is it's dormant for 150 years, which is why the developers felt it was safe to build a resort on it. And but then in 20 years it exploded again, which was quite unusual. So who knows? It could explode again.
And again, and again.